Good morning. My name is Marlene, and I will be your host for the next half an hour to 40 minutes or so. I welcome you. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate, and I thank you beforehand as well for every like that you will give me and for every share. And if you have a thought or two, whether it be good or bad, whether you agree or not, I would really appreciate you leaving me a comment at the end. But please, watch this to the end. There is some much needed value coming for the whole world. So, without further ado, let's get on with what we are doing. Quickly, recap. We are reading the book, The Power, The Secret, The Power by Rhonda Byrne. And we are on the chapter, The Power and Creation. We are on that one, and that is the chapter after the previous one. After feeling frequencies, we did yesterday, and then a few days before that, we did the power of feelings, and we did what is the power. Ooh, that's where the book started. So we are on the next chapter, and this is a very exciting chapter. I mean, the power that you have learned about now in the first few chapters, and creation. Wouldn't you like to have the power to create your life? I know I want. I want nothing else, nothing less. I want to do the creation myself, because I know what I want and need in my life, most of all, more than anyone else. I want to be able to do this. I don't know about you. But let's continue to learn about all the valuable things that we can and cannot do. Let me just fix my hair a bit. You know, it's always a bit messy. It's always a bit messy, but I like it that way. That's what's most important. I like my hair. So, without further ado, the power and creation. Every moment of your life is infinitely creative, and the universe is endlessly bountiful. Just put forth a clear enough request, and everything your heart desires must come to you. This was a quote by Shakti Gavine, B. 1948. He was an author. Shakti Gavine. Alright. In these next chapters, you will learn how easy it is to harness the force of love for money, health, career, business, and relationships. With this knowledge, you will be able to change your life into whatever you want. See, that's the thing I want to. To bring a specific desire to you, follow the steps of the creation process. Whether it's bringing something you want or changing something you don't want, the process is always the same. The creation process. My apologies. Feel it, imagine it, receive it. I just read it the wrong way. My apology. Let me just redo that one. The creation process is this. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. Easy as that. Imagine. Use your mind to focus on and imagine what you desire. Imagine yourself being with your desire. Imagine yourself doing things with your desire. Imagine yourself having your desire. My apologies, let me just take a sip. Water is life. Okay, that was number one, imagine. Number two, feeling. At the same time as you imagine, you must feel love for what you're imagining. You must imagine and feel being with your desire. You must imagine and feel doing things with your desire. You must imagine and feel having your desire. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power drawing your desire to you. This completes your part in the creation process. Number three, receive. The force of love will work through the visible and invisible forces of nature to bring you what you desire. It will use circumstances, events, and people to give you what you love. Whatever your desire, whatever you desire, you must want it with all of your heart. Desire is love, and unless you have a burning desire in your heart, you will not have enough power to harness the force of love. You must really desire what you want. As an athlete desires to play a sport, a dancer desires to dance, and a painter desires to paint. You must desire what you want with all of your heart, because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. This is cool. Whatever you want to be in your life, whatever you want to do in your life, whatever you want to have in your life, the creation process is the same. Give love to receive love. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. When using the creation process, imagine and feel that you have what you want already, and never deviate from that state of being. Why? Because the law of attraction copies whatever you give. And so you must imagine and feel having it now. If you want to lose weight, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself with the body you love, instead of imagining and feeling that you're overweight every single day. If you want to travel, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself traveling, instead of imagining every day that you don't have the money to travel. If you want to improve yourself in a sport, acting, singing, playing a musical instrument, hobby, or in your job, then give love for what you want to be by imagining and feeling whatever it is you would love to be. If you want a better marriage or a better relationship with anyone, anybody, then give love by imagining and feeling what it would be like to have that relationship. Quote, faith is to believe that which you do not see, and the reward of this faith is to see that which you believe. End of quote. By Saint Augustine of Hippo, 354 to 430. He was a theologian and a bishop. Yeah, theologian. Yeah. My apologies if I do not pronounce it 100% correct. I am sorry. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I would love to read that quote again, if I may. This is beautiful. Faith is to believe that which you do not yet see. And the reward of this faith is to see that which you believe. This is truly beautiful and so true. The Bible says the same. But let's continue reading. When you begin working with the creation process, you might want to start by attracting something unusual. When you specifically attract something unusual, you will be left in no doubt about the power when you receive. One young woman began by choosing to attract a specific flower, a white lily, calla lily. She imagined holding the flower in her hand, smelling the flower, and she felt having that calla lily. 2 weeks later, she went to a friend's house for dinner, and there, in the centerpiece of the table, was a bouquet of white calla lilies, the very flower and color she had imagined. She was excited to see the lilies, but she didn't say anything to her friend about her imagined flower. As she was walking out the door at the end of the evening, her friend's daughter spontaneously plucked one white calla lily from the vase and put it in her hand. Quote, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. This is an interesting one. Oh, end of quote. This quote was by George Bernard Shaw from 1856 to 1950. He was a Nobel Prize winning playwright. Give it, receive it. Easiest. Remember that the law of attraction says whatever you give, you receive. If you think of the law of attraction as a mirror or an echo, a boomerang or a copying machine, it will help make you clearer on what to imagine and feel. The law of attraction is like a mirror because a mirror reflects back exactly what is in front of you. The law of attraction is like an echo because whatever you give out is exactly the echo that comes back. The law of attraction is like a boomerang because whatever boomerang you throw is the exact same boomerang that comes back to you. The law of attraction is like a copying machine because whatever you give is reproduced exactly, and you will receive back an exact copy. It's scary when you know this stuff. A few years ago, I was in Paris for my work, and I was walking down the street when a woman rushed past me, wearing one of the most beautiful skirts I had seen, intricately detailed in the Parisian style. My reaction was love. What a beautiful skirt. A few weeks later, I was happily driving to work in Melbourne, Australia, when I was forced to stop because another driver was trying to do an illegal U-turn at an intersection. As I looked at the store window where I had been forced to stop, I saw the exact same skirt I had seen on the woman in the streets of Paris. I could not believe my eyes. When I got to work, I called the store and they told me they had received only one skirt from Europe in that style. And it was the skirt in the window. Of course, the skirt was my size. When I went to the store to purchase the skirt, it was reduced to half price. And the store attendant told me they had not ordered the skirt and that it had just appeared in their order accidentally. The only thing I had done to bring that skirt to me was to love it. And from Paris to a suburban street in Australia, through circumstances and events, the exact same skirt was delivered to me. That is the magnetic power of love. That is love's law of attraction in operation. Imagination. Quote, "This world is but a canvas to our imagination." End of quote. By Henry David Thoreau, 1817 to 1862. Transcendentalist author. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. When you imagine something positive, something good, and you feel love for it, that is what you are giving. And that is what you will receive. If you can imagine it and feel it, then you can receive it. But what you're imagining must come from love. Makes sense. Makes so much sense. Whatever you're imagining must not harm another person. Imagine something that brings harm to another person comes not from love but from a lack of love. And with certainty, any negativity ever imagined will turn back with an equal ferocity on the person who sent it. Whatever you give, you receive back. Whatever you give, you receive back. Something to think about. But I want to tell you something fantastic about the force of love and your imagination. The highest and best thing you think is possible is nothing compared to the force of love you can give to you. Love has no limits. If you want to be full of vitality and happiness, with an incredible zest for life, the force of love can give you health and happiness at levels far beyond what you have seen. I am telling you this so that you can start to break the boundaries of your imagination and stop putting limits on your life. Push your imagination to the limit. And imagine the best and highest that you can possibly imagine of whatever it is that you truly want. The difference between someone who is struggling and someone who has a fabulous life comes down to one thing: love. Those who have a great life imagine what they love and want, and they feel the love for what they're imagining more than other people. People who are struggling are unintentionally using their imagination for what they don't love and don't want, and are feeling the negativity of what they are imagining. It's such a simple thing, but it creates vast differences in people's lives, and you can see the difference everywhere you look. Quote, "The secret of the master mind is found wholly in the use of imagination." End of quote. By Christian D. Larson, 1874 to 1962. He was a New Thought author. History has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all human limitations. In every field of human endeavor, whether science, medicine, sports, the arts, or technology, the names of the people who imagined the impossible are engraved in our history. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they changed the world. Your entire life is what you have imagined it to be. So cool thought of all. Everything you have or don't have, every situation and circumstance of your life is what you have imagined it to be. The problem is that many people imagine the worst. They're turning the most wonderful tool against themselves. Instead of imagining the best, many people are in fear and imagine all the things that can go wrong. And as surely as they keep imagining and feeling those things, they happen. Wherever you go, you receive. Feel and imagine the best and the highest you can in every area of your life, because the best you can imagine is a piece of cake for the force of the universe. It's just a piece of cake to do it. Imagine that. Yeah, we got to use our imaginations more often, don't we? When my family had settled in the United States, we flew our 15-year-old dog, Gabby, to be with us. One night, not long after Gabby had arrived, Gabby is a he. My apologies. He managed to get out of a small gap in the fence. Our home backs into mountains, so it was far from an ideal situation. In the dark, we searched the streets and the trails leading up to the mountains, but our dog was nowhere to be found. As my daughter and I were searching, negative feelings of anguish began to increase. I knew we had to stop searching and change the way we were feeling inside, immediately. The negative feelings were telling us that we were imagining the worst, and we had to change the way we were feeling quickly and imagine the best. At that point, every possible outcome could still happen, and we had to choose the outcome of having Gabby safely home with us by imagining and feeling that he was at home. We returned home and we pretended our dog was with us. We put food in his bowl and thought as though he were there. We imagined hearing the bell around Gabby's neck as he walked down our hallway. We talked to him and called out his name as though he were there. My daughter went to bed imagining that her best friend of 15 years was sleeping next to her bed, as he always did. Early the next morning, we discovered a notice on a tree at the foot of the mountain saying that someone had found a little dog. It was Gabby. Just as we imagined, our dog returned home safely to us. No matter what challenging situation you may find yourself in, imagine the best outcome and feel it. Feel it. When you do, you will change the circumstances and you will change the situation into what you want. Whatever you can imagine exists. Quote, creation is only the projection into form of that which already exists. That was, end of quote, by Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam. It was Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, my apologies if I do not pronounce that correctly. That's from the 9th century ancient Hindu text. Okay. Whatever desires you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. 5,000 years ago, ancient scriptures recorded that all of creation was done and complete, and that anything that could possibly be created already exists. Now, 5,000 years later, quantum physics has confirmed that every single possibility of anything and everything actually exists now. Quote, the creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was complete. End of quote. From Genesis in the Bible, Genesis 2 verse 1. And let's not lose the place that we are reading at. Right. What that means for you and your life is that whatever you can imagine for yourself in your life already exists. It's impossible for you to imagine anything that does not exist. Creation is complete. Every single possibility exists. So when you imagine breaking a world record or traveling to the Far East or being full of health and being a parent, those possibilities of you doing those things exist in creation right now. If they don't exist already, you would not be able to imagine them. To bring the things you desire and love from the invisible into your visible life, all you have to do is give love for what you want through your imagination and feelings. Imagine your life the way you want it to be. Imagine everything you want. Take your imagination with you every day. And imagine what it would be like if your relationships were all wonderful. Imagine how you would feel if your job suddenly took off. Imagine how your life would be if you had the money you need to do what you love. Imagine how you would feel if you were overflowing with health. Imagine how you would feel if you could do what you wanted to do. Use all of your senses to imagine what you want. If you want to travel to Italy, imagine the smell of olive oil. Taste the pasta. Hear the Italian words being spoken to you. Touch the stone of the Colosseum and feel being in Italy. In conversations and in all your thoughts, say, imagine if, and then fill in the rest of the sentence with what you want. If you're talking to a friend and you're complaining because their work colleague got a promotion and they did not, help them by saying, imagine if the reason you didn't get that promotion is that you are being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money. Because the truth is that the possibility of your friend being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money already exists. And if they can imagine and feel it, they can receive it. Quote, atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or fact. End of quote. By Werner Heisenberg, 1901 to 1976. He was Nobel Prize winning quantum physicist. Werner Heisenberg. I would like to read the quote again, if I may, please. Atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or fact. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. After graduating from college, a young woman struggled for months and months trying to get a job. Her biggest obstacle was imagining having a job when she didn't have one. She wrote in her journal every day that she was grateful for the job that was coming to her, but still no job. Then she had a sudden realization. Her desperate actions of applying for one job after another were saying loud and clear to the law of attraction that she didn't have a job. So, here is what the young woman did that changed everything. She decided to use her imagination and live as though she were already employed. She set her alarm early as if she were going to work. Instead of writing in her journal that she was grateful for the job that was coming, she wrote how grateful she was for her success in her job and for the people she worked with. She planned the clothes she would wear to work each day. She set up a savings account for her paychecks. Within 2 weeks, she felt as though she really had a job. Then, out of the blue, a friend told her about a position that had become available. She went for an interview, got the job, and received everything she had written about in her journal. Prop yourself up. Quote. Whenever you permit yourself to think what person, things, conditions, or circumstances may suggest, you are not following what you want to think. You are not following your own desires but borrowed desires. Use your imagination in determining what you want to think or do. End of quote. By Christian D. Larson, 1874 to 1962. He was a New Thought author. When using the creation process, use all of your props to generate the feeling that you have what you want already. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. If you want new clothes, make sure you have space in your wardrobe with empty clothes hangers ready for your new clothes. If you want to bring more money into your life, does your wallet have space for money, or is it filled with irrelevant bits of paper? If you want the perfect partner, you must imagine and feel that the person is with you now. Are you sleeping in the middle of the bed? Or are you sleeping on one side because your partner is on the other side of the bed? If your partner were with you now, you would be using only half the space of your wardrobe because your partner's clothes would be in the other half of the wardrobe. Do you set your table for 2 people or 1 person? Just putting out an extra place is something you can easily do. Do your best not to contradict your desire in your day-to-day actions, and instead use the world of props that surround you to feel as though you already have what you want. These are simple little things that you can do with props and your imagination, but they are incredibly powerful. One woman used props and her imagination to receive a horse. She had wanted a horse all her life, but she could not afford to buy one. She wanted a chestnut Morgan gelding, and a Morgan would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So, she imagined seeing the exact horse she wanted each time she looked outside the kitchen window. She put a picture of a chestnut Morgan horse on the screen of her laptop computer. Whenever she had the opportunity, she doodled drawings of the horse. She began looking at horses for sale, even though she couldn't afford them. She took her children to a store and together they tried on riding birds. She looked at saddles. She bought the only thing she could afford, a horse blanket, lead, and horse brushes. And she kept them on display so she could see them every day. Sometime later, the woman went to a horse expo in her town. A raffle was being held at the expo, and the first prize was a chestnut Morgan gelding. It was a chestnut Morgan gelding. The exact same horse she had been imagining. And, of course, she won the raffle and received the horse. Your senses are props too. So, use all of your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel the touch of what you want with your skin. Taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. One man worked with all his senses to bring himself multiple job offers. He had applied for 75 positions over 3 years and had not received a single job offer. But then he used his imagination and all his senses to imagine he had his dream job. He imagined every detail in his new office. He touched the keys of his computer in his imagination. He smelled the lemon scent of the furniture polish on his new huge mahogany desk. He imagined his work colleagues. He gave them names. He had conversations with them. He had meetings with them. He even tasted the tacos at lunch breaks. 7 weeks later, he began receiving requests for interviews. Then requests for second interviews poured in. Then he received not only one fantastic job offer, but 2. He accepted the job he loved the most. And it was his dream job. Know that when you have completed your part in the creation process, creation is done. You are no longer in the old world where you didn't have what you wanted. You have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you cannot see it yet. Know that you will receive it. Points of power. To harness the force of love in your life, to bring something to something you want or change something you don't want. The creation process is always the same. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. Imagine it, feel it, and receive it. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power drawing your desire to you. Imagine yourself being with your desire. At the same time, feel love for what you're imagining. Desire what you want with all of your heart, because desire is a feeling of love. And you must give love to receive what you love. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and the highest that you possibly can for whatever it is that you want. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. In conversations and in your thoughts say, imagine if, and then complete the sentence with what you want. Use props. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects. So you can imagine and feel the feeling of having that, what you want. Your senses are props too. Use all of your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel it, taste it, smell it, and hear it. See it too, see it. When you have completed your part in the creation process, you have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want, even if you cannot see it yet. Know you will receive it. I know like I know like I know that I know. I read that somewhere once. It's like, I know that I know like I know that I know like I know. Yeah. So that is the end of the chapter on the power and creation. So now that is a good chapter. That is a really good one. And it's something that I can change and better in my life, because I tend to be more negative than I realize myself, than I led on to. Because you have many thoughts in a day, and we are positive towards certain things, but do we actually watch every thought? You cannot. You have over 60,000 thoughts a day, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Could be more, but still, you want to watch 60,000 thoughts a day? You cannot. So this comes down to a whole attitude, I would say. Attitude, to a mindset where you just realize that it doesn't matter. Even if someone's walking here, say someone's walking down the street on the other side, just look at them and you think to yourself, does that person not have a mirror? Did they not look at themselves today? Their hair is messy, their clothes don't fit, it's too small, whatever the case may be. That, I know. I have many such thoughts during the day. So that's where it comes, where it takes the hand with the chapter that we read yesterday, which says that, throughout the day, we have to be careful to watch what we do and what we feel. Because one moment we feel love for something, and then the next moment we don't feel love, and then we have love again, and then we don't, and then we do, and then we don't. And every time you do and you don't, then it cancels each other out, and then you do and you don't again, and then it cancels each other out. So today we see the creation process that we want to do. So we got to think it, imagine it, feel it, and receive it. But we have to make sure that all our thoughts, all of them, are positive and uplifting. Doesn't matter what. It's got to be every moment of every day as much as possible. So let's start tipping the scales in our favor, love more, and see the world for the beautiful, beautiful, wonderful place that it is. May you be blessed today and the next. May you make good and better choices and be positive every moment of every day. From now on, this moment. And then, be sure I will see you again very soon, in a few hours' time, with the next chapter, which is the one Life Follows You. Is that the one? Yes. The next chapter, Life Follows You. Again, it all comes back to you. All fingers pointing to you. Yes, alright. So, I will not take too much up of your time. This has been great fun. Thank you for coming. And thank you for staying. And may you be blessed. I'll see you again soon. And I'll miss you so much till then. Bye for now.